Alright, welcome everyone for today's workshop creator challenge showcase, where we're going to be looking at everybody's submissions for the July challenge of a hover vessel, capital vessel, dropship combo type thing. Now, I do have another music performance I'm doing tonight. I don't have to leave as early, but I am on a bit of a time constraint still. And with as many submissions as we had 11 different people submit. We're going to try to make things as even and fair as possible. So I am going to do a time countdown here with my laptop for each group, for each set of submissions. Also, there's one design that does not really fit to the challenge theme, in my opinion. So we're going to just kind of glance over it really quickly. And then there's another one that technically fits, but I feel like it's missing a little bit. So we'll just glance over that one as well. Rather than completely ignoring them, because I could be wrong, I could be missing something. But yeah, we're just going to kind of briefly touch on those. So welcome everyone, welcome, thanks for joining Hoot, Highlander, Jet Set. Sorry Eric and Eddie that, you're not going to be able to watch the stream. I understand, I'm on a time constraint just like you. But without further ado, without anything else, we're going to go ahead and get started. And start with this first design, which is the MSG Calfy version 3, or proto version 3. Now this comes to us from Stachelkeule, or Adrian. We're just gonna say Adrian because I know how to pronounce that. And it's a very big design. It's actually the biggest single ship design on here in terms of the capital vessel. And this is an updated version of one of his he's already done. He's got a version 2 and everything. He just basically updated it to show off with the hover vessel dropship challenge. And we actually have, as you can see here, we have the TRD Intruder Scout. So what this is, as you can see, it kind of fits right over here, that theme of the dropship, like in Aliens. You walk up over here, it's above the bay doors, and you actually go here and you flip that to open the door, allowing you to drop down from there. Now we do have a larger set here, and it's really not needed for that. That is much smaller than these. So I'm assuming, Adrian, that this is either for a future design of yours, or you left it open for somebody else's design to be used along with yours for the same thing, because it does have the same matching little platform. You can walk out, kind of drop in and drop down. Now we'll just briefly touch on the capital vessels, because the main thing is, of course, the integrations between the capital vessel and hover vessel. So we've got, like a nice little bay here. Everybody can look out in this middle section. Both sides, of course, have the same setup, where we have the larger cargo bay doors here and the smaller ones, which obviously is for the intruder scout. And we have the small vessel bays right here, little parking spots, which works well for the cargo bay doors up top. And this is really well armed. Sorry, no xenomorphs, Danielle. We're not going to do that today. I don't think we have enough theme elements in this to make it work. Here you can see we have our nice little cockpit area. And, big gun on top. Always looks good when you have that. Now, interestingly done element here with this approach. I mean, it does look weird with the turret sitting kind of over that, but I like how you did clear space so the guns can be set further back and kind of fire underneath. That does give an interesting visual element to it. And I mean, this thing is fully loaded. You can see just how much stuff is in it. We do have the nice little, lounge areas in here. We have medic bay, of course. We've got just everything you're gonna need in the normal capital vessel. Tons and tons of grow plots along the sides. So it's very full-fledged. You've got plenty going on here. But again, it goes back to the theme of the dropship. How does this work? So, you're gonna have to kind of stop. You can't be moving, at least in terms of what I know from single player. You cannot be standing free while the ship's moving, kind of a inertia type thing. So they make it where you have to be sitting in a passenger seat and all that. So you're going to, when you were ready to drop somebody off on the planet, you're going to just be like, hey, go here, climb up, and you're actually going to walk forward, and there's no, doorway that leads in. You just go right to the the pilot seat right here of the hover vessel, and then when you turn it on, a quick drop, and assuming you got it lined up just right, it will drop you right out onto the planet surface. And so you've got a good little setup. It follows with the theme right there. Like I said, you do have that theme of it being a quick deploy onto the planet, and then to get back up, which this is a bigger design, so not gonna be able to do that on this part. There is a ramp, so you will, of course, as I've said, have to land the capital vessels to get these back up in most cases. So that is something you're gonna do, but you'll just come up the ramp, and then you've got a spot here. Just make sure before you come in, you close the door, and no problems. You don't have to worry about falling in. It's completely manual, which is really nice, and that's kind of the little touch I was looking for on this sort of setup, where the doors are manually triggered, not automatic. So we've got that. I think it may have actually run out of power already from me, yeah, earlier, trying to set everything up. But it's got a very nice setup going. I mean, plenty of room to walk around. You've got storage. You've got, of course, your medic station, clone chambers, things like that. And then just room for this bigger hover vessel. So that is, again, the MSG Calfy and the TRD Intruder Scout. Obviously, you know, you can add your own ships to it, do whatever you want to do. And the only thing I'm going to say I think could have been changed on this, Adrian, just being honest, I feel like this little middle section is a lost opportunity. I really think you could have done something here, maybe even cut this back a bit more, where this would be the actual dropship section. Multiple ones that you actually access them through the inside, through like a back door, which you've got a back door on it. So it would have it docking kind of here, and you just drop them from the middle. You could have 8 on each side, or 4, however many on each side, and just deploy them just like that. That is something I think you might want to consider for maybe version 4, doing something like that. That could be an interesting approach, because, I mean, if you take some of these out, you see it should work. They'll be nose to nose, but you deploy, it just drops right down. That would look really cool. Maybe think kind of like a swarm type approach, rather than just here's a single dropship. It would look like a swarm of ships being deployed all at once, especially if you're going into a major battle, which this thing is obviously equipped for. So yes, that is the TRD Intruder Scout and the MSG, thank you for adding my name in there, Calfy version 3 or Proto version 3. We've got about 3 minutes left I can spend on this one. I'll set them like teeth in a zipper. That would be another cool thing there. So anybody have any questions real quick before we move on? Like I said at the beginning, I don't have to leave as early today, but I do have a bit of a time constraint for another performance tonight. So I'm trying to make sure everybody gets an even amount of time for their look. So we're going to kind of jump through these, just mainly looking at the integration. So anybody, quick questions, anything like that. We'll go through that, and we'll answer questions now. You got a couple minutes left before we go to the next one of the more than I expected submissions for this. Fortunately, Adrian, you were the biggest one of a single design. Everybody else is a little bit smaller, so it's going to be easier to get through them. Any questions? Nobody? Danielle? Excalibur? Jet Set? Anybody? Questions? Extra time, try out the HVs a bit. Okay, we'll go ahead, we'll hop in this one. So, basically, yeah, HV, you can pilot from inside. So, it takes you, you know, the interior piloting part of it. We do have this door. We've got, of course, one of the things being these drop ships should be self-sustaining. So, you should have, you know, mobile constructor. Of course, we got fuel, we got storage, we got a medic station, clone chamber, so you can respawn there, and armor locker, everything. So it is very self-sustaining, just like it's supposed to be for it to be a true drop ship. And we'll go ahead. Now, I'll drive for a moment. Cannot promise how far I can do on this, because again, I'm trying to make sure everybody gets an even amount of time today. It is actually a very speedy little hover vessel. Does have its own weapons, of course. I mean, it's ignoring the dropship part of it. This actually would be a fairly decent little design just for normal gameplay because of how fast it is, how maneuverable it is. And looking at the resources, it's actually very cheap. The only thing that would maybe hold you back at the beginning is, of course, the sathium and the cost. Danielle, I'm sure you would have had a massive ship design, right? Because you just did a massive one that I covered. So, yeah, I am on limited time trying to get this done. But, yeah, you can see here, this is very speedy. So, definitely very maneuverable. You know, plenty of power for it. And again, I feel like this is an interesting spot where here, even at worst case, if you don't have the setup for them doing off the sides, you could have like a little middle bridge section and have them dock there, where each one docks in front of like a walkway and they drop down, redock from the other side. All right, we will do that really quick. That's actually the, just got the alarm that I'm supposed to be stopping now, but we'll go ahead and redock. Just show that part. So you come up, the door comes down, we go up, and yeah, this, you gotta lower down a good bit. Now, some of these, I will tell you, what I have noticed is, because of constraints in the game, of course, the way the game is just done at the moment, you will have to kind of finagle these in a little bit at times. But there you go, you're done. It's done, it's docked, and that's it. You just kind of drop down, or you know, you can jetpack up there to walk down this, and then you just basically would come over here and be like, oh, time to go again, and deploy. 1.3 million sathium. Yeah, Danielle, we would not get through yours today. There would be no way I'd have to do that as a live stream by itself for something that size. Alright, but that is the MSG Calfy and the TRD Intruder Scout. And now it is time. We got to move on. And again, these are all linked up in, of course, the channel page, so you can go there and see them. I will also be uploading the game save as it was before the start of the stream, so you can actually just go in and play with them right here like this and not have to spawn them in on your own to do that if you just want to check them out real quick. But this is going to be the next set. This is the HMCS Phoenix Dropship and the HMCS Gonculator Drop 2 coming to us from TwoTon. Basically, it's a very open design. Now, the one thing that caught my attention when I was kind of flying through this earlier is this gun seems like it's going to be a little, you know, restricted, being a turret and all. This is an artillery turret. What's going to happen when it hits the little post there? That doesn't seem like it should work right. We do have a little SV bay here, and, you know, normal stuff for a CV. But, of course, the magic is going to be where the docking occurs. Now, we do have this. You come up the ramp here, and you have a spot right here just for this ship. Now, the one thing I have noticed, and I think it is to do mainly with the placement of the sensors, is that at some points you can be standing over here and the doors will start going crazy. Just kind of standing up here at a certain place, I've had that door and both sides door just opening, closing non-stop. And so it can be very loud and irritating if you're just trying to do some work. But I think, again, that is something to do with the placement of the little motion sensor. But basically, you'd come in, you know, it's kind of docked in a similar way. It has this little track along the top, which means it's easier. You don't have a single plate where you have to dock. It actually has a long track, which makes it easier to dock. And then you just have to go forward until you hit your harvester module against the bracing point here. And as you can see, it has the little drill, multi-turret in the back. It's got artillery, all sorts of weapons. And yeah, you can hear the door going as I move around it. And then, of course, the harvester module. And we've got drill lasers in the front, so you can use that for drilling out stuff. In terms of utility, it's very similar to the design TwoTon submitted for the last challenge, the June challenge, where we have this whole interior section that's opened from both sides. We have, you know, like the detector, we have the armor locker, the clone chamber, all our storage, basically accessible from both sides. And each side has a matching setup, like 2 medic stations, everything. So yeah, it's a refit from his other designs. And so basically what you would be doing is you just, you know, come here, you're gonna power it on, and unfortunately I'm too close right now for it to show, but you drop in, and as soon as you drop through that door there, the underside shutter doors are going to open automatically, letting you drop through. And so it works really fluidly with that. And then I'll show you now actually moving everything back in, because we do have, again, the side access doors here. You'll come in. The problem I've had, similar to with other designs, it's not just this one, that getting into the ship itself and then getting everything lined up just right, little tricky. Because of the viewing angle. You can't do third person view as readily. It does kind of act a little goofy with that. But you can see that's, you know, everything, these stayed closed when I came in and were not opened until I actually got in to do the drop. So we'll do the drop again. Actually, we'll go up. I think it was we'll fly up. I'll find the captain seat. We'll go up a little bit higher so you can actually see how it drops out. And I need to add power again. And turn my power back on. There we go. Okay, so going up, we have, you know, this nice ship set up in the air, and you're like, hey guys, it's time to, you know, hop down to the planet. So you're here, you got this, make sure you're all set to go, you got your stuff, because they will drop, and just, hey, have fun, happy hunting. You're gonna walk up, which if you place this just right, you see how the harvester module will come right up to it, so you can walk straight onto the hover vessel, turn it on, and then just bam, right down onto the planet, and you're set to go. You say, hey, all right, I'm gonna go get some harvest some trees, you know, I'm gonna go harvest some other stuff. And you can see how much it zooms out for me now once I'm clear of being inside a capital vessel. So you just be like, oh yeah, all right, I'm ready to go. You're self-sustaining. You got a dropship that can carry really only one person. It's not a full troop dropship for multiple troops, but it is a dropship that you could take and drop down on the planet while somebody else handles another one of these, or somebody else is doing a small vessel. It really, you know, it fits to the challenge. Because the challenge did not mean necessarily it has to be multiple troops. This, you know, fits to single troop, but it works. So that is, again, the HMCS Phoenix dropship, which is the actual capital vessel. And then we have the HMCS Gonculator Drop 2, which, again, the Gonculator is one we looked at previously. This is just the refit to make it fit for this, which is within the challenge rules. I said you could refit something if you wanted to. And it's just, it works really well. I'm really pleased to see you got this to work where the doors are automatic when you drop, but will not open automatically when you are trying to redock, because that would have made things a little bit problematic. And, you know, yes, it is just shutter doors. I don't know if you could do that with the cargo bay doors, but, you know, it does show that it is possible at least to have the doors only open when you are doing a certain action. And it's just, it works really well for that. That is the really pleasing thing for me, is that they stay closed when you're trying to dock it in, and then when you actually want to deploy it, they just open up, you drop right through. That is wonderfully executed, and I am really pleased about that aspect of it. It just makes that whole thing very fluid. So that is the again, the HMCS Gonculator Drop 2, which is just a refit kind of his previous design. And you'll see, you know, it does have, because of components, some of Restroom is Escosium requirements, which, you know, if you really like this, you can always strip some of those out and put them in later. Obviously, this thing is well fitted for fighting, especially towards the front. Of course, you're not going to do too much PvP with glass windows, but it looks really good. Assuming that we ever have like true force fields in this game, where Star Trek, Star Wars type force fields surrounding the ships, and you have to break through those. This will work great even in PvP. Though I think it's just much more themed towards the idea of deploy this, drop it down on planet, and hey, you go have fun, go do some work. And then you got your little spot here for a passenger, repair technician, because obviously dropping these on the planet to leave, you're going to need to repair them when they come back. Alright. So, I see everybody's, complimenting about the look of the capital vessel, the use of the tubing and everything. Anybody have any questions real quick? Anything we need to kind of look over in terms of that? We've got about 2 minutes left on this one. I do like the antenna designs here. That looks really good. It almost looks like it's a bladed weapon, like you're going to use it to drill into something from that side. And you've got shutter doors here that are enclosing the turrets. I'm assuming there is a let's see, there's a dorsal and weapons, all that. So we've got a thing that will open those up, I'm assuming, for that. Just really good setup, and I'm glad to see you actually included sideways growing plants. Everything grows sideways in here. Yeah, next to the guest shower, I get, that's what the humidity from the shower helps to keep the plants watered, so you don't have to actually go in and water them yourself. So yeah, it looks good, and it's just really works well visually. And again, the real aspect, the dropship, ties in extremely well, especially the fact that they drop out with such fluid motion because the doors open right up only for dropping out. And these are these are decorative plants, not really regular plants. You can see the pots on some of them. You can't plant them sideways normally. This is just to make it look visually interesting. Alright, but that is, again, TwoTon's submissions to the challenge, the HMCS Phoenix dropship, the capital vessel here, and the HMCS Gonculator Drop 2. No, Eddie, it's not an update you missed. Don't worry, I would have been mad too if I was seeing that. I was like, wow, I didn't know that could work either. So now we are going to be taking a look at the Highlander's submissions. Now, he did a really good job with June's creations, which was where we kind of saw the benefit of massive number of harvester modules in the front. This is the HWKS MSG Thunderhawk. Thank you for throwing my name in there again. And the HWKS MSG Land Raider. So the Thunderhawk is the CV, and it's very simple, like yellowish orangish color. It's kind of it's not exactly yellow. It's got like a deep yellow and some orange in some places. But you see, we've got cannon turrets, minigun turrets. We've got nice look. I really like the fact you kept the thrusters so exposed instead of trying to cover them up, because that just makes it stand out more. It looks more visually interesting. So this just really looks great to me in terms of the engine placement on that. And of course, you got the nice big gun up top. Very simple, very straight line, straightforward design. Now, this was an interesting one. Oh, and that's right. This actually, there's a third entry for this one from Highlander. It kind of doesn't fit in the challenge in the dropship, but it is interesting, so I included it. But this is where we have our dropship. This is the Land Raider, and it is a tank. It has the 3 vertical stacked harvester modules, which hopefully, just don't bump right in front of this here. And then it's a tank style. Now, the interesting thing here is the docking pads are on top of the turrets. So you actually have 2 docking pads. You see mine are not entirely lined up, but they also, I think I'm supposed to actually be facing the other direction here, where the back is to this side. for this line, because this kind of lines up, but those don't. So I may just be wrong on that. It does have an entry exit point in the back, and it is, you know, a dropship. Now we got nice glass enclosed RCS. We got 4 passenger seats with cargo boxes behind them. The constructor, everything. This is a troop dropship. This is exactly what it's supposed to be. It's a tank to drop down, and you know, you've got 4 detectors here. Not necessary from a functional standpoint, but it does make it look good. And of course, defenses, we've got a multi-turret there and a drill turret. So you got 1 on each side, so you do have both functions. And the great thing about this, and let me show you here, going up, this is the most interesting one I've seen for this standpoint. It is a very interesting use of the trapdoors type thing. You flip the lever and these doors open up, uncovering the elevators. So then you can just drop down and bam, you're inside. All right, guys, get in your seats. Let's go, 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 Marines, yeah. And everybody jumps in, and then you deploy. It also, when you do that, as you'll notice, it retracts all of these ramps, these little shutters, which are visually there to help hold it up. It really doesn't hold it in place. It just looks like it does, but this really fits the theme. This is one of the ones I'm liking the best because it fits the theme so well. It's a mobile troop transport tank that is self-sufficient, can do everything, and you don't need this, but it looks like it's holding it up, which is so really creative. I'm really giving you kudos on this, Highlander. And like I said, I love the use of the trap doors here, doing that so it pops up, and you just go like, all right, guys, ready? Ready? Troops ready? Bam! Go! You got the green light. Go! Everybody jumps in, done. They deploy, and then somebody up here just turns it back off, and you're set. That is, try undocking in place. Actually, we'll hold it. Okay, we'll do that in a second. I'm going to actually raise this up in a second, and we'll drop it off and take a look. Now, there is one other thing that I almost missed, and he did have a third design linked in there. This is the HWKS MSG Survival Pod. Now, this is not a tank. It's not necessarily a troop deployment, but you flip that and drop down, and you were in this little front section here, which I kind of had to play around a little bit with the docking approach here. It does dock in like that. It is basically a tank, you know, troop deployment type thing. It doesn't dock externally. It docks inside like this, and you don't really drop off the same way the other ones do, but it does deploy down through there. So we're actually going to wait just a second so I can actually turn this back off. We're going to fly up and take these out for a test spin. So, up in the air, you're ready. All right, guys, you know, we got to deploy. Oh, and you said to actually try to drop down. It'll hold it up. All right, we'll do that first. We'll go ahead and make sure, yeah, I got power still. So if I try and undock, wow, it does hold it. Just very weirdly. Oh, it did hold it. So what? I broke loose. I beat your system. Okay, so it deployed, and it still worked. It just held it. It got a little really weird. Okay, so it gets that. Now, of course, we have to go back in here. As soon as I grab hold of this, it's going to drop us. So, there we go. Bam. All right. So, it did work. I did manage to slip away, but it still held it up there anyway. So, that is the drop. And it does look like a tank. It feels like a tank. It dropped down. I feel like I'm ready to go in combat. And there's actually room for 2 of these. So, you can, of course, set them up there 2 at a time. And like I said, I think I may have actually parked this backwards from the way it should have been, so they may both need to be, you know, the rear sides towards each other in the middle. But you should be able to actually drop 2 on a planet and say, all right, take off, guys, have fun, you know, see you later. And then and I'm assuming this is more of that focus because it's right here by the captain's seat, you're under fire, your tanks are deployed, you're being attacked. You are about to lose the ship. Oh, survival pod, go, 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 go. And then you just, you know, well, if it's a, there we go, that's right. Not down, not C. Hit the forward button on this, and then you kind of have to lower it down a bit. This one did give me some problems backing in. I'll tell you that too. It did act a little weird when I was trying to even bring it inside. So I feel like it needs a little bit of work on this one. But again, this was not even really, I mean, it kind of fits the challenge, it kind of doesn't. But I did get it in, I got it out, finally. It's very iffy on that one. You kind of have to really work with it. I think maybe an adjustment to the overall size with the side width would work better. Or it could be also the top width, since you're not doing as much with this one in terms of docking up top. You could take that turret off and make it easier to lower it down through there. But that is the survival pod. The MSG survival pod, and it is, you know, a tank in sorts. It's, you come in here, you know, set hover height, line up with the ramp, tilt vehicle forward, reverse ramp, and reverse. That was actually fairly easy to do. Docking it was not a problem. I had much more trouble just then getting it undocked. Behind here, you know, we have storage, mobile constructors. We got room for 2 passengers. Of course, you're going to be, when you're deploying last second like that, if it is like an emergency thing, you may not have your passengers getting in quite as quickly as they should. But it is another nice one. It's got drill turrets on the front. It's got the harvester modules. It's fully loaded. And the, you know, this, so far, I'm not going to say anything about the ones that we haven't got to yet, but so far, this is the one that has most closely adhered to the challenge aesthetic of it being a dropship combo for troops, survival type stuff. You know, that's exactly what these are. These have really, you outdid yourself on this, Highlander. I am giving you double kudos now for it, because this just works. It's very streamlined inside. You've got everything you need inside, and then you've got nice, again, I love the trap doors. They work well. You've got room for 2 of the tanks, so you can carry, was it 4 passengers in each tank plus the pilot. So you've got room for 10 people to deploy through those, which technically, you know, if you're flying this, you're kind of going to need those 10 people in the hover vessels while you're in motion. And then you've got 3 seats up here that you deploy down to the little survival pod, drop it out, and hey, everybody can live if the ship's getting destroyed on a planet or moon, not in space. So trap doors, let me see if they are airtight. And I believe, yeah, I need to put some more fuel in. See, I am, well, it says oxygenated because I am on an oxygenated environment. I do believe we should just be able to throw in some O2, I believe, and see if it will actually let us turn on the oxygen. And it is. It's letting us turn everything on. So it's filling up. So I am going to assume, yes, the trapdoors are airtight in that regard, Mandalorian, because it's not giving me any issue with the O2 filling it up, saying it's currently inside, you know, the ship 237. So we are able to fill it up with oxygen. I would say they're airtight in that case. Again, this is Highlander's entries. Normally it was supposed to be just, you know, 1 capital vessel, 1 hover vessel, but he did a great job with these, so I wanted to showcase all 3 entries, which is the MSG Thunderhawk, the MSG Land Raider, and the MSG Survival Pod. So thank you for, again, throwing my name in there. That's his entries, and again, very impressive, very pleased with them. You really nailed it on this challenge. If CVs could dock on CVs, yes, that is actually a really good smaller CV. If you could have that to go from one planet to another, or if they ever make it where CVs can dock on SVs, or hover vessels can dock on SVs, then that could be a larger, you could build a really large SV that could drop the hover vessels down instead and just have a capital vessel that does nothing but stay in space. And that could actually be like a large, small vessel instead to deploy them. And now, it is time for me to get a quick sip, and then we're going to start this next one. Now, these next designs are, again, thank you for naming me in these. This is from futontorpedo. I think I've got the right one. If I'm wrong, I will correct myself in a second. Yes, futontorpedo. And this is the MSG Raptor Dropship, which is the capital vessel here. You see the nice camo texturing on the outside. And the MSG Raptor UHV. Now, I was tempted to load this whole thing up with a bunch of the dropships. But I wanted to leave room so we could actually show it functioning and everything. So the one thing that I have, you know, a potential issue with is this. There is no seal on this. This is open air. The, you know, the pilot seats are right here. Passengers right here. You're basically, you know, this is in atmosphere type dropship. When you go into space, you're going to need to have your helmet on the whole time. And it also leaves your pilots kind of vulnerable. So, not really a combat ship. And there's really, you can see that there's not a lot in the way of weaponry. So, yeah, that's kind of the case. It's not really a major combat ship. It's just meant to drop these off. And that is, again, the Raptor UHV. Now, these look like tanks, you know, like tank treads. I like the use of the texturing on that to look like it has tank treads. Has the, again, matching camouflage style look to it. We have, of course, the harvester modules, which are necessary for self-sufficiency. Got plenty of thrusters on the sides for mobility. And the weird thing is now, this docks right here. You can see how it docks like that. I am docked on it. Now, I think it's maybe the first one. One of these was showing not completely attached earlier. And I think it's just to do with the level of the base itself. But you are in this corridor, which, of course, again, is not exactly very well defended. It's kind of thin. So these are not... you're going to need your helmet on. You'll come out here, you'll walk out, and then hop across, and you are inside the hover tank. Now, we've got grates here, and I know Danielle is asking about this. It takes 5 to fill up. Has a ventilator. So we're actually, you know, I've got oxygen left. Let's see. If it'll fill it up, yes, it will. And it's not letting me oxygenate it. I've got the oxygen turned on, but it's not oxygenating. So there is a problem. It is not airtight. It should be airtight, but it's not acting like that. And I think, Danielle, you were asking about this as well. I feel like this is not airtight either. It doesn't seem like it's going to be airtight. In that, I mean, if I turn this on, it's not applying oxygen to it. It's not letting it turn on. You see the ventilator's not turning on. So it's acting like that is not airtight. Now, the cockpit, I think you're mentioning that, the cockpit side of it, with these, they're open, so it's actually relying on the interior. And, oh, yeah, main power is off on this. Let's see. All right, so oxygen. No, oxygen, it still is not airtight. It will not apply oxygen to it. For the hover vessel, and I'll make sure, okay, power on this. Okay, so the CV is airtight. It does have the airtight version. The hover vessel does not. The hover vessel is on and will not turn on the ventilator. Oh, duh. Okay, thank you for that, pointing out. There, okay, so yeah, ignore all that last little bit. These are airtight. It doesn't look like it should be airtight. I can see through this, but it is airtight. So, okay. Basically, yes, you have 2 pilot seats. Got the, medic station, everything you need to keep it going. And, 2 armor lockers, I guess, because, you know, everybody wants to keep their armor separate. And the only weird thing I've got with this is maybe the aligning of the platform here is what I saw earlier. The alignment's off because the door is to the side. Like, if it was dead center here, I'd have no problem with lining this up and coming in right here. But you see, it's kind of offset a little bit. And then I'm not getting a full... I did not get it to go push all the way back. I'll try again, but I did this earlier, and it would not let me move it all the way back against it. it kept giving me like a weird thing where it was angling it the wrong way. But maybe it's going to work now. We'll see if it works now. If it doesn't, nope, still, that's pushed all the way back. It did not let me click to it. So yeah, a little problem there with the placement. It may be something to do with, I don't know, maybe the turret's acting like it's got a larger hitbox, maybe, for that. But yeah, it's not wanting to line up quite right with that. And now it's not wanting to let me get back into it. Alright, let's take this up into the air so we can actually do a drop on it. And again, you saw how that lines up. It's actually pretty easy to line it up because there is such a wide section here. You don't have to worry about lining up to that. You have to worry about lining up to the ramp. You might could use a ramp on the hover vessel to make it extend down, maybe. But then it's also, I think, partly with the height level at where it will dock can also be a little bit problematic. But here we go, dropship test. Drops down, nice and easy. And, you know, here we are. We have the turn radius is not as fast as maybe a couple of the air designs, but we do have good speed. And we do have good side to side on it because of all the thrusters on the side. And it, you know, it's a quick and easy way to harvest a bunch of wood logs as long as you target through the front little section there with, of course, the three harvester modules. Yeah, and you got the little panels in the front giving you some, you know, makeshift display information. Doesn't really help you, but it does make it feel a little bit better. And it actually moves very well along, like little ridges like that. Pops up over the edge of the base platform with no problem. And, oh no, oxygen will be removed. Okay, but yes, you can see how easily it is done here. I mean, it's just very easy to line them up. Looks good. I do like the fact, I think it's partly to do with the texturing here. The angle makes it jump up really high when it hits into an obstacle, making it easy to go. And you see, you actually have 6 docking pads. So you can carry 6 of these Raptor UHVs and deploy them onto a planet. So this is a military ship. This is a true, like, we're dropping a bunch of troops down there and taking this place over type ship. Because you've got enough to drop 6 tanks down, each one fully loaded with supplies, with 2 people on. I mean, you're not going to be dropping a huge amount of troops, but really, against the points of interest, well, you need 2 people, that's enough. You know, 2 people can take over a POI, no problem. So, alright, we've got a little over a minute left I can allot for this one. So, any questions real quick? Yeah, and as Eddie says, it's definitely with 6 of these, you could take out a whole planet quickly. I mean, very fast, mobile, fully loaded for their own, you know, protection, survivability. You know, it has the rocket turrets, which makes it a little bit more versatile against some of the heavier hitting points of interest. But I mean, it's still, you know, hard and still block on the outside everywhere. You'll last a good bit. And with 6 of them, if you really need to, hey, 2 people, you know, 2 different HVs go together and take out the same points of interest. I mean, it gives you plenty of capabilities for that. The one thing that this is missing, you see, you don't have multi-turret. You don't have any drill turrets or drill lasers. Nothing for drilling, so you will be kind of, if you're doing that, you're going to be using this to pop the cork on the, you know, deposits and then put down an auto miner, basically. Clearing all the lumber on a planet stream. I think if I was going to do a stream where we have a bunch of people trying to clear all the trees on the planet, I'd go for a combine looking hover vessel for everything. Alright, so that's again the MSG Raptor Dropship, and the MSG Raptor UHV coming us from futontorpedo. Again, I will have links for everything in the description afterwards. I will also be putting up a copy of my game save as it was when we started, so you have everything on there. You could take them, fly right up, and drop things off, and just test it out that way if you don't want to have to worry about spawning them into your own game. Alright, now, this is the Lafette Carrier and the Docking Lafette coming to us from Arnie. And this is the one of the ones that I mentioned doesn't really fit to the theme so much, in that I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is the docking hover vessel. Now, it does dock to the top of it, but it does not have a way to just drop out. It's actually built and designed to intentionally, where is it? There we go. To actually fit inside as an extension of the CV itself. Kind of, yeah, there it goes. I had to wait for it to settle. But basically, it sits inside like that as an extension to the capital vessel, rather than a drop ship, which is part of course, the theme for this. It is actually wanting to let me move. It's not even wanting to let me do that. I think I'm stuck. I think I did get physically stuck with it. But basically, it is a... Or maybe this one is in the way. We'll get it out of the way. We'll try this again. If I can get it set up. But it essentially is just a mining vessel of sorts. It is just there to... yeah, and it's not letting me move. If you look at the workshop page for it, you'll see what I mean. But it is set up so that this sits in there and serves as a mining extension. Used to dock, but he added extra blocks. Yeah, I mean, if it was made to do that and drop there, that would work great. If just taking out these blocks like this, taking out those on each side would work as well. It would then work as a drop ship of sorts, where you can deploy it on the planet. And I think it's still kind of sticking from the blocks themselves. Yeah, and as Excalibur points out, the turrets don't work anymore unless the hover vessel is docked, and it's just an extension. We've seen that with some others. It does miss the theme of it being a troop type dropship, a self-sustaining dropship. So again, this is one that does not really fit. I mean, it is technically the whole deployment, docking method work. Yes, Excalibur, I know it's not docked. It actually is stuck. The blocks are sticking somewhere that it's acting like it's merged into the capital vessel. It won't let me move it. And I mean, even if it was set to be undocked, and it is meant to be dropped on the planet, the problem still lies in the fact that it is not self-sustaining. It's not a true dropship in the theme of what the challenge was supposed to be for, because it has just the 2 drill turrets. There's no weapons. There's no constructors. There's only 2 harvest cargo boxes. There's no production capabilities. It's really interesting, and if we could still use the hover vessels in an extension like that, it would help, especially for asteroid mining or something like that. But it really doesn't fit with the whole troop style dropship theme of the challenge. But again, this is the Lafette Carrier and the Docking Lafette by Arnie. If I move the CV like this, it's probably not going to fall out, because it actually is probably kind of like it's somewhat docked to it at the moment, Eddie. And before, it has plates underneath, actual blocks underneath, and when you look at it on the workshop, it's designed so it actually fits in there, and the blocks will not allow it to drop out. So it does kind of dock, but it does still, it's not self-sustaining. It still doesn't. And yeah, it says the the HV is docked, so technically I can move it. It won't drop out. It'll sit there and just maybe it's counting the other one. Maybe it's counting this one underneath. Let me move this one because it says one of them is docked to it. It did say that was one of them is docked. Docked. Yeah, so it should let me fly. Yeah, there it goes. So the other one was counting like it was, even though it was not physically touching it, it counted like that. And yeah, you can see it's just kind of there. It's more like dropping on top of an asteroid or a resource boulder or something like that, and then there you go. It'll let you harvest it that way if that's what you want. But again, it doesn't really do the whole. The original design had the plates there that will not allow this to drop out, and it's also not self-sustaining. So I don't feel it actually fits to the theme of the creator challenge this month. So moving on, we've already done, oh, wrong direction, there we go. We're going to go to now, make sure I've got the right one, next in line. This should be, yes, this is coming to us from Mandalorian. I saw his name on there earlier, MandalorianWraith, and this is the SWS Barbed Needle MSG CC. So you put the whole MSG Creator Challenge thing in there, and then the SWS Barbed Needle Point. So we have this, you know, needle ship, which basically, I mean, assuming is what it's supposed to be, is look like a needle kind of going in at something. Now we do have this little spot in the back where you can dock, and it does have a pad here that you can back up and dock against this. So technically it can dock to the back. This is not really the dropship element of it. What the dropship element of it is this, the needle point. It actually docks up here in the front. Now, one thing you'll see here, and this may actually be partly to do with the way the base platforms are done. I had to extend the base platform way out. You'll see, that's the original one that's covered up by the entire first design. So all these are extensions, and it's not lining up very easily. So it's probably something to do with my platform. But as you can see, it doesn't actually touch. The docking pads are docked. It's just not docked though, and this part is not docking either. It's actually, I don't think those count even as docked because it just kind of it bumped in the wrong way. So going to here, we'll actually try to get this lining up again. And it's also another part I found on this is with everything docked, and it may again be something to do with my base platform not working, not being level. This does not click in. This is not even on the actual docking pads for the landing gear. The landing gear is not even making contact because the turrets are lower than the landing gear on the ship itself. I think in that part, yeah, at least here, the turrets you see are actually hitting before the landing gear. So that could be adjusted a little bit. Maybe add another block below to extend them. But the needle point, well, one harvester module at the front. It's got that little pointed tip to it. Got Gatling guns, the turrets, got the artillery turret, got rocket turrets. You've got a whole bunch of stuff. You've also got side access doors, multiple seats for passengers, plenty of storage, you know, there. And the thing is right here, we've got a multi-turret and a drill turret at the very back, which is where you're going to kind of walk in. You have the medic bay right there where you go through all this other part of the ship. You got your grow plots, everything, which the grow plots are up in the air. Kind of interesting look to that. But you'll walk through. You'll walk out right onto the platform. Walk in, just go forward. Like, oh, hey, you know, I'm ready to go. Let me adjust and then drop. Now, it does have, as you can see here, an access door up top, which I guess maybe, you know, you can use that to help line it up. Maybe just to get up top and do that, or maybe that's just for your drone launch. So you can actually launch your drone from this as well. But let's go ahead. We'll take this up in the air. I think I got power and fuel. Nope, I didn't even put fuel in this one yet. So we'll go up a little bit. And yeah, you can do, you've got control for different thruster groups, everything like that. We'll just, I'm not even sure which way to go. I was a bit rushed to get everything going today. So we'll just go on down. Go down here. So you would walk out into the needle point. And drop. Very simple, very straightforward. It does kind of drop you all the way down. And of course it does have docking pads on the underside that will allow for docking to a base or something like that, especially for repair bay, which you need to be able to do here for repair bay module. And the thing is, the repair bay in the back is kind of set up for that. You basically are just going to back up. There is no docking pads at the back of this to dock against the wall, so the other spot back here that we're right below can be used for docking some other hover vessel, one that actually has the back pads. And don't fall in, don't fall in. We'll go in here. So yeah, see, there's no back pads. It is kind of like a brace thing. You could still dock to it, but yeah, I would say you've got room for another, you know, hover vessel in there that can be docked that way as well. We'll actually try to lower it down, hopefully not too much on top of the hover vessel. Hopefully I did not knock it into the water. Hit the pad with the harvester and you're centered on the repair bay. Okay. Oh, yeah, pad with harvester. Whoa. Okay, I didn't even notice this earlier. It's not even opening up the back door. So, let's see. We have a switch here. Well, we got switches here. Aha. Nope. Oh. There we go. Okay. Sometimes these switches don't want to act like they're actually triggered. So simple enough, I guess just do this way because can't see the third-party view in it. And there we go. Yes, my leveling is off a bit right now because of the base. Actually, because I went too far, it looks like. Something's hitting. I guess I grabbed hold with the harvester and it kind of pushed me back. There we go. So yeah, push forward into it, but then once you hit it, kind of back up just a little bit so it doesn't apparently grab and hold you up at an elevated angle. So there's, you know, the way you repair it, and then you just come back out and go over here at the front of the ship, very far ahead, and then dock it there, which is a very nice thing. Now, it does have the little switch here, which gives you a ramp down too, but honestly, I didn't need the ramp. You saw how, I mean, I think this is more for getting onto the planet surface itself, rather than a ramp to get onto the hover vessel, because you saw it was all the way up to the back with that platform. So I don't think you really need to use that unless you're just wanting to walk out onto a planet surface and it's already deployed. But that is, again, the SWS Barbed Needle MSGCC and the SWS Barbed Needle Point Hover Vessel. If any questions, anybody want me to run through anything real quick? I mean, it's, you know, it's a standard CV. It's, you know, you've got storage, you got your, you know, production. The hover vessel has got all the supplies you need. You know, this is interesting. I like how it's up and out of the way. It kind of makes it feel like more special with the grill plots up, but at the same time, you can't just walk right through them. But again, it does give that distinction, like, oh, hey, I see a, you know, some of my durians up there growing nicely. Hey, that's nice. Makes me feel good. Just because it looks better. Put it upside down above the docking spot. You know, that is a good question. It's a question of what is the depth at which we need that repair bay module to be from the vessel itself. If it's docked here, is that actually going to Oh, you cannot take the repair bay block anymore. Okay, well, thanks, Highlander. You answered that question. That's unfortunate. That would have made things super easy right there. Just dock it back in normal place and let it repair. Maybe we can request the devs to reinstate that for stuff like this. That would be nice. And of course, now this does have a cargo box back, or cargo bay doors back here. The roof hangar doors, obviously for a small vessel. So you are going to have to do maybe a little, you know, rearranging if you're needing to repair this and you've got a small vessel in here. You might have to move it out temporarily to get this in and repair it. So, stairs be better than elevators. It depends on the design. I think, you know, some cases, maybe in this case, yeah, you could just done stairs on the side, just walk up and been up here like that, and then walk. Like here, you would have to orient it a little differently. That would work. I think it just depends on personal preference, though. Mandalorian, I really don't know. You know, for me, you know, aesthetically, you go for what you think works. What I like, somebody else won't like, and vice versa. Thanks for joining us, Creative Crafter. Glad to come join the stream. And that is my alarm again. Time up on that one. So again, this is the SWS Barbed Needle and the SWS Barbed Needle Point, coming to us from MandalorianWraith, who is here on the stream with us today as well. Alright, let me make sure I've got these next three in the right order, and I'm giving the right credit to the right person, because I'm just kind of had to fit these in as best I could. Alright, so this next one is this one here. This is from Dunewolf, you know, like Sand Dunes, or the book and movie Dune. This is the Cube Dropship CV T1. What the T1 is, Tier 1, maybe, you know, trial run. Now this one, nice design, very interesting. You've got a big hangar bay, and initially I was thrown off on this because I looked at your stuff on the workshop and I didn't see anything really indicating where the mounting points were, where the docking locations are, and I found these. So this is the Cube Dropship, and then we actually have another case where there's two entries. And the first one is the Cube Attack Model C1. The second one is the Cube Turret. So this is the turret, yeah. So this is the turret. It comes with a turret. And this is very similar in design to a hover vessel we looked at one point. I think it was on one of the live streams. I think it was the one before we started the challenges live streams. Was we looked at one that had this sort of setup. It was a little drop pod type hover vessel that you could just drop and deploy in one place, had the clone chamber and all that. And that's basically what this is. This is kind of questionable for me, because it is a, you know, technical drop ship in that you can drop them, but they're not enclosed. They do have everything you need for sustaining, you know, yourself, generally, but it's not enclosed. You're not going to be taking on any points of interest in this. You are going to be getting killed against a point of interest with these. This is more for just general travel and survival. But that being said, it does have everything you need. You know, fridge, food, you know, and production capabilities, clone chamber, medic station. At least that one has, yep, both have medic stations. Now, what threw me off a bit, and this is obviously, instead of having like one tank that covers a whole bunch of troops, you have all these different little bays that people can drop down from. So it's really also weird. Like, you got 0 and 1 here, and they both open up. But if I come here, I actually do not have a way to access that one. I could come to this one instead, and I have both of them accessible from here. So I think, really, either, you know, one side for only one type, or the other side for the other type, or this should be spread out a little bit more. That way you could put, like, each bay, access bay, is both of them. But again, this is you're not going to be fighting a point of interest with this. Actually sit up in the recesses. How, like up inside and then drop out? Because I could not get it to fit like that. I had trouble just getting it to reach up high enough on this part right here. We'll try it real quick though. It's supposed to sit up in there. That just seems way too wide. So what, I'm supposed to like set it inside partially, I guess? Let me move this one over. We'll drop them off. You fly from inside the ship. Oh. So it doesn't actually drop out of the ship, or you fly in from here, you fly it down there, and then drop it off that way. If that's the case, we'll try it. I mean, I still feel like it's too weak to be considered a troop dropship, because, you know, the problem is you're not going to be attacking a point of interest with this. And you know what? Forget, I'm not going to worry about trying to get that up here. We'll just spawn another one in. We'll do the attack model. So, okay. That's why I said I wasn't 100% sure on a couple of these. So we would, I would go ahead and cover them anyway, just a little bit, just make sure I wasn't missing something. So we'll try going in here. We'll go scoop out. I'm stuck somehow. So this, you said come in, put this one on a left side bay, okay? Left side, like facing the front of the ship, the left, because, or one that has like an access door to the left, like this one. Again, I looked, I didn't see really how to make this work quite right, and it doesn't seem to still want to fit at all. Where I was good. Okay, so I'll try this again. We'll see. Tight fit. Yeah, definitely a tight fit. I think that's kind of an understatement. Maybe I just need to like hold O to make it kind of line me up right. No, that we've had to do that in other cases. Maybe I just wiggle. Okay, yeah, I think that's it. You just gotta wiggle it in. Apparently. Once you get good, you get in every time. I'm not sure I would want to get good on this one. This seems a little problematic for me. Alright, so you got that. And then close the door. Okay. So it is technically a drop ship, and the fact that you can drop onto the planet, it's still one that it's kind of tricky to get in place, but more importantly, you'll die against any point of interest. This is not a troop style thing. This is like quick deployment. Hey, we're just gonna go out, and that's if I could get it to wiggle out now. Yeah, I can't even get it to wiggle. Wiggle, do something. There we go. I can wiggle if I just do my look. I can't wiggle it. I can't get it to move. It's not moving. It's stuck now. I think it's that part right there. Alright, so yeah, it's flawed. It's a bit flawed. Hold the O button. I'll try that again. It didn't do anything. It's not doing anything. I'm holding O. Oh wait, it lost power. That's right. I turned it off. Maybe that was it. O. Alright, yeah, so if I hold O, it kind of does drop. But very slowly. Okay, there we go. You just kind of have to get past that one spot and then drop it down. Looks like tight work, but she can take it. Okay, we'll leave it at that. And oh no, I flipped. Again, apologies for the setup on this. I was running out of room on the base that I had, so I lined things up as best as the game would let me. It's not very good at lining some things up and when they're separate structures. Okay, so it works as a technically vessel, but yeah, Patrick Greenlaw, I'm going to agree with you. Not that it's too difficult to use. It's too difficult to use for the function you get out of it. Again, look at this. It's unprotected. You will be killed quickly in this. Even if you're using the turret one to defend yourself, you'll get killed quickly. It's an interesting concept. I will say that. It's a very interesting concept, but it definitely needs some sort of armoring. It needs to be protected in some way. And, yeah, I mean, you've got the functionality, you got the dropship element, even though the dropship part is a little wonky, but it really needs it needs some protection. You're not going to fight a point of interest with this. You will die quickly. Actually, you die fighting the gluteus plasmicus bugs quickly on this. It's definitely an interesting design, but I feel you've got to have armor for stuff. You cannot go out unprotected like that as readily in the game anymore. Yeah, it's a nice effort, and it does fit in with the theme, but again, I just think it you know, needs to be tweaked a bit. You need some more armor, you need something else. Maybe go with something similar to this. Maybe take out how many there are and make them larger, so that you have the same approach of like moving in place from inside, but it's actually a larger little self-enclosed like cube type hover vessel or something like that. That I think just would work better in the end for it. But again, this is the cube dropship and the cube turret C2 which you have, and where's that other one? Cube attack model from Dunewolf. Yeah, and he's got a lot of functionality. Like I said, there is a similar design we looked at recently, a hover vessel that was made to be like a quick deployment clone chamber. And this, to me, feels like it's basically a similar approach to put as much functionality as you could into a small space. But again, it ends up being you're not going to survive well in that if you get attacked, kind of thing. Maybe, yeah, escape pod. That's what it could be. You could consider it an escape pod. You are getting shot down, you escape onto a planet, and you can sustain yourself there with it. Though I would personally probably keep with the survival pod here instead. It's more expensive, but it's going to protect you better and do a little bit more as an escape pod type thing. Alright, so that is, again, all the stuff coming from Dunewolf. We are going to go ahead and get started on the next design. We're moving along nice and quickly. This is going to be the EOS ST and the Jax DS coming to us from Icarii. I'm assuming, you know, like Icarus, but Icarii, like plural. If I'm wrong and you're here, go ahead and correct me and I'll fix it. But we've got, you know, nice little piloting seat up here. It's very much, this is almost a cube, you know, kind of a cubish type shape. It looks like a medical vessel type thing. You've got, you know, maybe, you know, this is for supporting, you know, in battle. You come in, and here's the interesting part. Now, there is a shutter door. You don't really need the shutter door. It's just nice and hides this. You have a shutter door here, or, you know, ramp that comes down, so you can easily access this. Let's say you're already on the planet, then you want to go in. Or you want to, get up here. Come in from the elevator here. You can come in off the elevator right here and drop down. But you have a hover vessel here that actually is, yes, docking. Let me show you up top here. If I can find that spot. It is a little bit of a tight fit. It's not that part. It's right there. It docks against the back. There is a D there to show you where to dock. And it basically, it's easy to dock. You fly in, raise it up, and then back up, and it docks in perfectly. I had no problems with this. Works extremely well. There is this little gap. I could not get it to park any closer. But come in, you see we got a spot for medical station. We got O2 station. You got harvest boxes. You got constructors, for mobile constructors. You got storage for ammo and stuff. You got a clone chamber. It's a medical, you know, vehicle. Go in. It's a support vehicle. Go in, help everybody, and then you jump in. It'll drop out. And with this setup the way it is, it drops out. Even if you don't do the actual drop from up in orbit or, you know, up in the sky, you can actually just, you know, when you are landed like this, drop and drive out. And when you're not wanting to do that, you can just drop back in. Okay, I'm gonna go all the way up, and then we'll come back down a little bit so I'm not hitting the ceiling as much. Oh, there we go. That's got it. There you go. So yeah, very straightforward, really simple, works well. And I mean, you, like I said, you can sit there and be on a planet already, just walk in and decide you want to drive it off like a normal hover vessel, or you can be like, hey, I'm going to fly it, or I'm going to drop it in from up in the air, which is another possibility. We'll do that now real quick. Okay. No. My thrusters are on. I have power. Hang on, let me check. I know some people forget to turn, or it may be not they forget, it's just certain things like thrusters and RCS don't decide to turn on when I power something on or off. Yeah, it's not, or wait. Passenger seat, okay, that's why. So there's a passenger seat right there instead. Alright, so we are up in the air. I like the, you know, the little wings you got on there. Very straightforward setup here. You just, you know, walk in. You got tons of storage in here. You're like, all right, time to send you down onto the planet. And just so you don't fall as you're coming out of the elevator, that ramp that extends down, that also helps. And then you just walk in here. You're like, all right, you know what? Here we're gonna do this. Me think I got it set. Think. Or no, I don't. There we go. Maybe now I can, maybe now it's set. Alright, say hi, it's not wanting to let me release now. There it goes. Alright, so a little wonky on it. It's not wanting to let me, it didn't want to let me release for a moment, but there we go. Now I'm all the way down. I dropped down super easy. So it works really well. It's very speedy, very quick. I mean, you want that in a medical type vehicle is what it looks like. It's got a spot on the top for a turret, which will not affect parking since it docks from the back. Very fast turn speed. I mean, this is a super maneuverable vehicle. Get in there to a combat zone, pick up and heal people, and then get out. So I'm very impressed with the turn speed of it. That's probably the biggest thing that stands out for me is how fast it's able to maneuver around, which makes it really useful for that. It's not heavily defended, but it will let you spin around a very good bit. And of course, like I said, there is a spot for a turret up here. You do have a shutter door up here too, so you can deploy your drone, do whatever you want to do. But it's a very nice theme. Also, we do have marks, as you can see, D for drills on this. The D up here is for docking, not for a drill turret. That's, you know, dock here. So don't get confused on that. And that's basically it. That's very straightforward, very simple, but it follows the theme very well. It may not be like a military, like I'm going to take on every point of interest I run into, but it is a, hey, I'm going to go out here and support my troops out here and help and do that sort of thing. You know, it's much more of a support style vehicle than a, you know, take on every point of interest type vehicle. But again, this is the EOS ST and the Jax DS coming to us from Icarii, as in Icarus plural, I guess, which leads us to, we got a couple more. We still have some more. We're not done yet. We are closing in on being done, though. We are getting close. We've only got 3 left. And I believe this was the next one on the list. Yes. Alright, so let me get a sip of drink so I don't get dry mouth right now. And this is the PAST CV, past CV. And we also have the Spear hover vessel coming to us from Operator Hoot. I'm looking at the right ones. Let me make sure. Yep, Operator Hoot. So, Operator Hoot, it's your turn now. So, we've got, of course, our pulse lasers in front. We've got weapons. This is heavily armed. You know, nicely armed, very well defended. You see how low it sits, that even the turret right here is sticking into the base platform. That it actually has no landing gear on the back. It's landing gear up here, and the back just sits flush to the ground. The capital vessel is probably the one that looks the most like it is meant to be a troop transport, because you actually have bunk beds, military, you know, style area. And then coming back here, we have our 2 drop bays. Now, we've got this nice little read here for loading and dropping. You'll want to make sure you turn the switches to a certain way. Before you do that, you'll load all personnel in except the driver. Then you have the driver flip the switch for the drop stores. That leaves you 10 seconds to get into the Spear. And then once the doors are open, you power on, you drop. So, very simple, very straightforward. I feel like maybe if everybody got together and thought about this, we did one master challenge, we could find some way to make this work the way we did earlier. I think it was Highlanders that had it only did that at a certain time when you were dropping, not when you were actually loading in. But this is, so I've triggered it. You see we're waiting. I think I triggered it right. That's the drop doors, yeah. There we go. So 10 seconds. And both doors will open. At that point, you're ready to drop in. So let's say we're assuming, hey, you know, everybody's in. Of course, now that's the other thing, is when you disengage, there's a problem that your doors take 10 seconds to also close. So whoever stays behind will have to wait 10 seconds. But at that point, when you come back in, when you reload these back in, you'll be doing it from the back door, so you don't have to worry about being having to get it just in place at the right moment and time it just right. So let's go ahead, we'll drop this off. And also, I'll go ahead and point out, there is this little spot up here. You do have place for small vessels if you need, you know, that. You have the elevator access door leading up to that, and then just straight down to here. So we're here. Our troops are inside, which we'll go ahead and kind of hop over here, take a look, and make sure everything is ready to go. We'll go ahead and power it on. You see, it's actually a dropship. It has seats. You know, we got sits on each side. So we got 12 passengers total. You got clone chamber. You got clone chamber. I'm not sure why you want 2 clone chambers. Maybe just for the symmetrical look. But it's really not necessary to have 2 clone chambers. You do have, of course, everything you need to keep things going. You got fridges, you got constructors, we got everything on that. And so coming here, everybody's loaded in. You guys ready to go? Yeah, we're ready. All right, 10 seconds. Get ready before we, oh no, I missed the door. All right, close this, get ready. I still made it in time. And then I'm just going to go boop. And, well, hopefully you won't just try to boop like I did and just press down slightly. You'll actually hold the button down and move over. But, yeah, it drops out from the side. And this actually does have, let me show you. It actually has blocks on each side. So you can actually dock from either direction. There's not a specific side. So you can dock them either way. If you want to have them both facing the same direction and troops loading in from the same side, whatever. But again, you need to hold, when you release, you're going to have to hold the button down. So hopefully you get enough speed so that it doesn't go like that. Like what just happened with me. But yeah, it's got everything, you know, mobile base desires. Got the production there. It's got plenty of room for troops. There is no drill stuff that I see on it. No drill turret, no drill guns, and I'm not seeing any spot for a drill module or anything. But hey, it's got room. If you know you're always going to dock on one side, pop a drill turret on that side. Maybe add you know, a multi-turret on the top or something like that. You really may not have to. If you're taking 12 people with you, put them to work. Let them drill out that resource deposit for you instead. Make them, you know, earn their keep. Now, it does have a sluggish acceleration. You can see how slow it took to get up to its top speed there. So it is a little sluggish on that. But, you know, we're thinking tank-wise anyway, so I don't see tanks just taking off like a Ferrari anyway. So, yeah, it is a straightforward design in terms of color and everything. I see some of you have been saying that as well. And that's okay. You know, to me, it's fine doing something like that because there are some limitations still in the game in terms of the cosmetics we have. I think the devs do need to add some more to it to give us some more options with that. But, you know, hey, we work with what we got right now. So now, let's, I'll show you the docking procedure going back in real quick. We'll dock it, kind of move forward a little bit so I can make sure I can see well enough. There we go. I think I'm level. Actually, I'm not. I'm a little off because of, again, the base platform not going to line up very well for me, but we can make this work. So we would come in, and it's not opening because you got to actually trigger it from back here. So make sure you do that. And then, oh, it looked like, oh yeah, that triggered when I did that. I was about to say, I don't think it's supposed to have a delayed secondary trigger for it. But you come in, you know, you'll kind of have to scoot around a little bit. It may take some work because of the third-person view being a little hard to see like this. But once you get in, you got this little spot there. And I feel like maybe adding a marker on top Hoot might help. Something that lets us see, like, oh, hey, you know, I'm here. You know, like this is lined up. Like, say, here's this side, here's this side. You know, it's just a little tag, arrow, something that could say, line these up on the edge and you're good. That would help make it a lot easier. As you see right now, I need to move forward just a little bit, and then also, I need to lower myself a little bit. All right. Back. Nope, still not lining up quite right. It is a little problematic. I think, you know, adding in the, adding in like a little arrow or something would make it easier. Oh, look, I'm so high up, I did that. So yeah, if you did that, that might help a little bit. That shape block by the turret is the center of the block and the docking clamps. Shaped block by the turret. So this one. Talk about this block right here. So the center of the front docking clamp. Okay. Let's try that. Turn back this way a little bit. They need to give us some method in third-person view as well, I think, to line things up a little bit more readily. Alright, let's see how that worked. Ah, close enough. I got it easily earlier. I'm not sure what's going on. Corner piece for the smallest and long. So, okay. So, oh yeah, like right there. Line that up to the edge. It works. I don't know why I got it earlier. Like, it may just be because of the other direction. I was on the other side. And the height could be, you know, some kind of indicator on height would help too, I think. Now I feel like I'm too low. Alright, that's it. We're going to go with that. I'm pushed up against it. Something's just acting a little weird on it. So yeah, like I said, maybe, you know, mark on the wall, something like that. Mark on there. I mean, unless you just got somebody here, which could possibly be the case. You got somebody here like, all right, bring it in. Bring in. All right, forward, back, your left, my left. All right, you got it. You know, somebody, you know, if you got that, yeah, that could be good to go. And yeah, you could even do like Patrick saying, get maybe rid of the lower one so it doesn't accidentally dock that way. But you know, it's always trial and error. You know, you just gotta experiment with it and figure out the way that works best. And as we've seen, some of these are a little bit harder to dock than some others. It's just a question of, you know, getting practice with it, getting used to it. But again, that is the I think I actually turned off something, maybe. Let's see. Nope. All right, there we go. The past CV, P-A-S-T CV, and let me look. I think he's got that on there. Planetary assault support transport. So yeah, it goes in, it does whatever, you know, you need, support, assault, whatever. You're gonna go in and take stuff out. And then you've got to add to that, of course, the spear, because hey, you know, that's kind of a, you know, popular theme in names, I guess, because the spear was the first like major weapon in history that gave advantage against, you know, the hunter and the prey kind of thing. So yeah, you've got the PAST-CV and the spear, and that again comes to us from Operator Hoot, so be sure to say thank you to him. That is over our time on that. So it's we've got 2 more, and I have a few minutes extra. We might be able to actually get this done, still be done in time, and I'm not going to be late for my music performance tonight. So yeah, we're going to go with now. Let me get everything, make sure I got the right name. And this is the Black Rhino CV mid-start, so middle starter type thing, and Black Rhino minor hover vessel. And it comes from Eddie Ed, which on the workshop it says 801. Here it's just, you know, on the Discord, Eddie Ed. I don't know if he's actually with us now. Yeah, there he is. So Eddie's still with us. So this is his design, the Black Rhino, which I don't remember rhinos having orange on them, but you know, the black part looks really good. The orange gives a lot of contrast. Doesn't make it look so plain as if like a dark gray or something like that. Now you've got the shutter door on the side, so you actually do have this little area here that you can walk in that's enclosed. Gives you your, you know, basically a mid-start CV. Yeah, something small, something simple. Gives you everything you need. You got all the medic stuff in the ceiling. You got some grow plots. You've got this that drops you down onto the hover vessel, which sits right here. You see we got medic station, fridge, you got cargo boxes. Let's see, jet thrust, where is it? Yeah, more cargo boxes, constructors, lots of constructors, oxygen station, all that. So you got everything you need right in here. And this is kind of, you know, basically like what I would generate. And as you've seen, I've actually shown one of my early attempted designs, and it basically is a big cube. This is basically what it would be if I was to do something like this. It'd be just an ugly cube, because I would go for function over form, because I don't need it to look pretty. But you can see we got the docking pads on top of these 2 little pads here on the side, as well as this, you know, weapon, not the back weapon. Now you can actually line this up fairly well with the upper access door. I did not have much trouble. The spot I had trouble with, and it's probably to do with the alignment of the base platform itself, is that these doors kind of got in the way. It was a tight squeeze through the doors, and a tight squeeze trying to come in from the side as well. It just kept bumping into stuff, but once I got through, it worked great. Easy to dock. And the only thing I would say visually on this that I would try differently, that I think, you know, from my standpoint would try differently, is the legs. You know, I think you could at least extend these out, maybe like a little footing type thing where they have little corners that come out or something like that. Make it look like, you know, a pad or something might work. But basically, yeah, you just have a very straightforward middle start capital vessel. You've got, I mean, if you can get up here, you got a spot for a small vessel up here. Or you could just park your small vessel in here and then kind of scoot it out the two little side doors. It'd be a small SV, but you can make it work. You also have this that leads down, like I showed, to here, and you can actually just drop out of the base instead if you were flying above the planet. So troop deployment, I guess. I don't know. Maybe if instead of everybody going this way, you're going out that way. But of course, you don't have enough seats for multiple people. So I'm assuming, yeah, it just needs to be. It needs some pads on that part. But you just drop in, you grab your, grab your seat and drop down, and it drops down very cleanly. Very simple, very straightforward, and you're good to go. You're out. You're ready to go. You got drills, you got harvester modules, you got miniguns. You also have some turrets. Now, of course, keeping the cost down, it has regular drill modules. It's, Sathium 175, Cobalt 10. I think by that point, by the time you can actually get the 175 Sathium, I'd just go, honestly, for the laser drills. I would just go ahead and bump it up to laser drills instead and do it like that. It has a slower turn rate than some of the other designs we've seen, but it has very good acceleration, moves quickly, and, it's just a very straightforward design. Like I said, if I did something, this is kind of what mine would look like. Be a big old block, just a big cube. And then, again, I had some problems squeezing through this earlier. You kind of have to get it lined up just right when you go through. You can technically dock it either direction. I chose to dock it going forward just because I thought it looked better that way. We'll actually go ahead and set it down. I can lower the capital vessel down over it. Yeah, there we go. And there's also this spot here. I feel like there's something that's supposed to go there. Maybe a certain turret in the end or something like that. Though the problem there is if you put a turret in that spot, you're going to have to make sure you keep this really low when you are trying to park underneath. It's the only thing I can see being an issue with that. So, yeah, basically once you get it in under that, you just go and line it up. And you just have to kind of look at it like that, and then boom, and done. Very simple, easy to park, and it does have side doors, so it's easy to get in and out. Again, everything you need on a vessel, and for just going around. And with it being a middle start type capital vessel design, this is definitely something for letting you, if you don't want to tear apart your entire opening planet, and you want to just get moving, then hey, this can work for you. Just take it, pop onto the next planet, and be done with it. You've got pretty much everything you need. You got med stations, you got clone chambers, you got constructors, you've got everything. So, had to redo the design of the cockpit because you have issues with airtightness. So, orange square does not really work the same. Okay. So, but the cockpit is airtight now, right? Because it does say it can, yeah, okay, so it's airtight, works fine. So no problem with that. Again, I like the black. While rhinos, I don't know of any orange rhinos or black rhinos with orange striping. The orange does make it stand out more than just a dark gray, dark, metal type color to it. The only problem I had was when it was docked like this, getting past the doorways. I think the doors could be moved back in further, and I think you need to do some kind of foot padding for it. Maybe something like that where you move these further into the actual leg, and then have it where it's got maybe a ramp that comes down, something like that. But yeah, it does need some kind of feet, just some kind of pad, like it looks like a landing pad for the CV would help out. Other than that, I think it looks good. It very simple, straightforward, stands out, and the combination hover vessel works well with it. Does exactly what the challenge was supposed to be, which is a drop ship. It drops very effectively, and it does what you need it to do. So, again, this is the Black Rhino CV, mid-start CV, and then the Black Rhino minor HV mid-start. It's very cosmetically stands out, and from a functionality standpoint, I'd only change a couple things on them. Like I said, the feet and then laser drills. That's really all I would do. So that is the Black Rhino. Now, we're coming up on the last part of this, and I actually do have a few minutes extra, I think. I can go for another 23 minutes, basically, before I have to be running out the door again. So we're going to go look at this one, which is definitely an interesting design. This is a little bit different than any other design, which it's also the last entry that was done. This is from AtlasGaming, and this is the Atlas Black Swan and Atlas Enigma. The Enigma is the capital vessel, of course, because it is a very interesting looking one. This looks alien. This looks very much like it would be an alien vessel rather than a normal vessel. You know, it's other than the back door type thing. The outside exterior part is, it looks like it would be one of the patrol ships on the planet coming to attack you. I feel like the Goa'uld from Stargate are coming to get me looking at this. It's got an interesting look to it. It's very much stand out, and if they ever give us new textures for things like thrusters and such that's a bit more alien, then it would definitely be useful to go back and revisit this Atlas, redo it with some new textures to the thrusters, make it look even more alien, and I think you could just do a great job with it. Now we do have this little top piece, which is nothing more than the spotlight here. So I may actually go, I want to see how this looks in the dark. We have some RCS in the front showing there, but you don't have to worry about that because here's your pilot seat. Here's your gravity generator, everything like that. And it's got a very open lattice type look to it. Maybe, you know, the aliens do not need flooring like we normally do, or they just like being able to see down everybody. They don't have an issue with no privacy. You know, everybody share a lock, so they don't mind seeing each other. And then you just got this enclosure right there with that, just the lattice blocks, the unfinished ones. And then we have these two side doors. Now, these are the docking spots. It's to dock here, and now it took a little, you know, wiggling to get it to line up even close to right. I didn't do it quite even. I did it kind of far out because I feel like it would push these too close together to actually get the troops inside. But basically this is, yeah, the Black Swan here. Let me get my power on for this again. Come here. It is all troops. This is the biggest troop transport we have had for the entire challenge submission. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 troops. You know, in a single row. Now, we do have the other one that was 12 troops spread out. The spear. But this is 12 in a row. And then everything else is on one other side. So you have cargo boxes. You have this. This makes me think of the, you know, Aliens design. Like, it looks more like they're almost all in that row, ready to go. You know, medic station, everything. It's a troop transport. It's meant to deploy them down and say, hey, go blow some stuff up. Have some fun. It's you know, it's an interesting look. And it's the Black Swan, so it looks interesting that way. Now, you got the pilot seat here. Basically, you have these doors that will open and drop down. Before we do that, we're going to fly up, because what's the point of deploying onto the the base below us? Now, this also, let me get a better viewpoint. You see, this is actually a really fast capital vessel in terms of its upwards and downwards movement, which makes it very easy to, like, take off real quick. If you were on a planet getting attacked. And you got dual shutter doors there for protection. Now, you can reach the pilot seat from inside, so that's helpful. And let me see if I can actually get it to let me... No, that's not going to work. Alright, so we're going to basically just be doing this. We're just going to drop. And, yeah, it doesn't just drop you in like that and release like the other ones. That is the one thing that's missing. In this one, you actually are going to have to go in and hit this, the drop floor. It doesn't just open automatically. I think we could actually, you know, that could be improved upon, because you'll have to get inside or get up top, basically, be standing on top of this, ready to climb in and reach, look up there, be like, hey, hit the open the floor, guys, and then you're ready to drop out. But it does drop out very readily. And now let me get my let's get some height. Let's get going. I think I actually fell so far I embedded into the platform a little bit. And now the one thing that there is nothing on this, there is no harvester. There's no harvester module. We don't have mining capabilities with this. There's nothing like that. It's got plenty of storage and everything. It's a troop drop, but it's not going to be self-sustaining. You're going to have to find a promethium deposit, something like that, harvest it by hand or with a drone or with an auto miner, and then make some more promethium fuel or something like that. You're not going to be harvesting for biofuel with this unless you just want to deploy your troops and say, hey, go chop some trees down, guys. But yeah, that's it. And then of course you're going to need somebody back up here on the vessel to go say, oh, all right, close the doors. So yeah, there needs to be either a switch button like that, or it needs to be some kind of automatic thing that picks up when you're in there, that you drop and it automatically opens. Maybe Atlas, talk to Highlander, see how he did, where it always deployed just when you were dropping, not when you're trying to load everything in. And then we got these, glory and honor, victory or death, military. Hey, go do a great job, guys. If you die, then sorry, but that's part of the job. And make sure I don't land on it. There we go. So now let's redock this. Let's take it back in. Which I'm also going to have to go and open that door. That's another thing. We need automatics on the back with the door. I know in some cases I say it's hard because of placement with the triggers and the signal logic, everything. But with this, we actually really need it to where you can just drive in. Now it does have that narrow drive there, which means then you're going to drive in, have to kind of lower yourself back down and start lining everything up. And you see I'm actually hitting something there. And then when I go all the way to the end, I think I'm actually too far now. Maybe I am. I can't see it. I know this was one that I had a good bit of trouble getting to line up earlier. Like just getting everything to line up. Okay, so I've got it now. And you can see, yeah, the gun actually goes through the wall. So it's not exactly the best indicator that it's that you're docked or not. But that's it. That is the Atlas Enigma 66, and then the Atlas Black Swan. And like I said, this does have this little spotlight here. I'm very interested to see how that looks. So let's go ahead. I want to see how this looks at night. We'll actually do a quick flyover with them all to look at them at night. We'll go ahead and move this in. So this one stands out just because the blocks have a different color texturing that lights up. And that's all it is. It just got that tiny little pinnacle of light at the top. No big beacon or anything. We need an option for like a beacon type beam. Like Planet Nomads. Big beacon shoots a beam up into the air. That would be cool to have on that. And so now we'll just fly around. We'll get another look at all of these in the dark so you can see them. And like I said, I will have every one of these linked in the description. After the video, after the stream's done, I got the video live, I'll have them linked up in the description. I am also going to post a copy of my game save, as it was before we started this, before we started the live stream. So you can actually just download that. It'll be, I think I'm just going to do it on Mediafire. Download it there and load this all up, and it'll already be in place. You can just go play around. Don't have to worry about spawning them in individually, one after another. That will be probably either late tonight for me, or tomorrow when I finally get all that done, because I will be leaving in 13 minutes and running. Now this one, very plain right there. It's very stealthy. That one's stealthy. This one, of course, reflective with the white. Got this one that's kind of stealthy, almost stealthy. Those, of course, stand out a bit more. The colorful ones always stand out more which is fine. At a distance, you're not going to worry about it anyway. This one, visually, I think this is one of the best looking ones, but this was a big design. He already had it done. He just updated it to work for the challenge, which was acceptable. But I am pleased to see, I don't think anybody actually did a design that was just a straight copy of anybody else. I know Excalibur, a couple others had expressed, you know, disinterest in that because of the, you know, just being able to do something simple like I'm taking this other design and changing it. And I'm pleased to see it. Nobody actually seems to have done that. Everybody seems to have just said, I'm going to take my own design and do it. And it turned out great. We've actually had a really good response to this. Once again, this is the second creator challenge, and we've had a great response. 11 different people submitted for this one. And I know Jay Randall, Jeff, he hit me up after I'd already closed everything, you know, saying he had something done, but it wasn't quite done. He got tied up with some other design. So he didn't get to make it. Danielle's glad she didn't do it, because if she had done it, I'd be sitting here. We would have spent an hour just looking at hers, probably. Because Danielle, you about killed me with that Gobbler Warbird. That was like 6 hours I worked through that video to get it done. That was the longest Empyrion workshop video I've ever done in terms of the time I spent on it the other day. So I'm glad we didn't have anything that massive on here. And I'm sorry we had to cut it kind of short, just kind of breeze through them each, you know, around 10 minutes each. But we did cover them all. They all look pretty good. We got several that are outstanding. You did a great job, everybody, but we did have some that stood out from the rest in terms of how well the design worked, in terms of the core function of the dropship and everything. And I really want to get there and say, you know, as I said earlier, I'm still going to say my favorite just because of the look, because of the way it kind of looked. One of my favorites is this one, because of the hook part that drops in, and the fact that you got the little flip here, you know, little trapdoors. That just worked great. I really, really like that one. That works super well. And then I liked this one that you can, you know, as soon as you are ready to drop, it automatically opens the doors. But when you load in from the side, the shutter doors here stay closed. They do not open under you, making it very easy to dock. And then as soon as you're ready, you hop in, you hit that C button, it just locks you out. It just drops you right then. They just pop open quickly and you're done. So I'm very pleased with these two right here. These are my favorites right now. The HWKS Thunderhawk one and the HMCS Phoenix dropship, just from the function aspect of it. And overall, I'm going to say I like, in terms of the hover vessels, these stand out. They work really well. They look like tanks, and they're colorful. They got all the functionality, and you've got room for 2 on this. Plus, I love the survival pod idea of something that can just be like, hey, captain wants to get away and be safe, and it's not a small vessel, because a lot of ship designs we see, especially capital vessels, that focus on an escape pod type thing, it's always an SV. It's always some little tiny SV that, like, okay, I can fly off into space, or I can fly to another part of the planet, but I can't warp jump. I don't have food production, nothing. With this, you can go and get food. You can go gather up vegetables and stuff like that off the planet and survive. You can turn it into food. You've got everything you need. But everybody did an outstanding job. I am very pleased with it. Once again, with the turnout of this one, I will be already thinking about the next challenge. I have an idea in my head already based on, and not a design I have done a workshop on, but one that is on the workshop that's very attention grabbing right now. And I have an idea for a theme around that. So that will be announced next week on the live stream, normal gameplay live stream. For now, I will still have, of course, all the links up on the channel on the Discord. So if you want to check them out there, in the meantime, you can. As soon as I get a chance later tonight, I will update the notes, put all the links in for this on the you know, the information for the video and put it up live on the normal channel feed. And I will also go ahead and add my game save map so you can download it, throw it in your own folder, and load it up and be able to play. So, again, thank you everyone who participated. Thank you everyone who is watching. I'll say we're right now 58 viewers. I think we hit over 60 at one point. So we're doing well with this. This is actually going well. We have got a lot of people on the Discord server now. Let me see if I can count it up. We got 37 online at the moment. We got 64 offline, and that's not counting our moderators, not counting our ambassadors or myself. So we have got a lot of people joining the server, and I am planning to do some stuff soon. I've handed off management mainly to Excalibur. He asked if he could take over, help handle it, and I'm very appreciative of that. That's helped me out so much by not having to add that to my plate. I am so stretched for time right now as it is, and I am going to be trying to get some other stuff taken care of, and then I've got some plans. I want to add some new stuff, expand the Discord more, because I want to bring more people into it. I want to get it going for more than just Empyrion. I want to have something for our Subnautica viewers that are maybe here watching us today, or just watch my stuff for Subnautica anyway. I want to expand it so it's not just an Empyrion server, it's everybody. And I have got some other ideas in mind too, so I'll be working on that. So we've got plenty coming up. There's always going to be something new going on. I have got so many things in mind, in the pipeline that I'm working on, that there'll always be some improvement coming. But thanks again, everybody, for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for following me on Twitter, following me on Twitch. And if you haven't done any of those, go ahead and do them, because it helped me out. I should be soon able to get my affiliate status on Twitch as well, and so that's going to help me out. And again, next week I will have the August Creator Challenge theme picked out, and we will announce it next week and begin work on that. But thank you for all of the... I need some clones to spread the word. Yeah, I do. I need a clone... Like, was it Family Guy, where Stewie cloned himself and Brian? I need one that's just slightly less intelligent, but won't fall apart. That would work best. But yes, thank you everybody for joining. And I will see you guys next time. I'm going to go ahead and call it an end, because I need to get some stuff packed up, and I need to go, and it's going to be another long night for me. But thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.